I'm up again now. We're into the two cards around thing here. So last took Ugin, and since then, for the only time now, the players to my left have taken three cards. As you can see, the seat next to me is taken Nissa, Pillar of Flame, Sylvan Caryatid. And then on the far left is quite the interesting deck. I'm really not sure exactly what's going on here, to be honest. So he's kind of gone back to the control thing that was happening for the first 12, 13 rounds. And then he went into this reanimator thing, and now he's seems like these last three picks just kind of fit in with what was going on before. We've got Land, Mystic Gate, and then Supreme Verdict, the Sweeper, and Jace, Architect of Thought. He maybe is playing control with a transformational sideboard. I'm not really sure yet, but worth keeping an eye on. And then we do lose possibly this Pillar of Flame, which I might have picked up at some point, but I'm not super upset about it. It's definitely not something I would have main decked. So going back over here, we've got two cards. I think I know what they're going to be. We've got in blue most of the things I'm going to take. Probably, I think we've got about 18 cards in blue right now, so there's going to be a couple free picks, but not much else. And so for the time being, I think I'm safe on actual black-red cards. So these 6 cards, I don't think I need yet. And then the lands. Those are probably going to be my last few picks, or some combination of those cards. So for now, I want to take Everflowing Chalice, I believe. With the Ugin last pick, I think I'm going to need I do want to take Rakdos Signet, but I think I'm going to play the Chalice over the Talisman. I think the chance to multi-kick this for extra mana is going to matter in a deck that's playing Wormcoil, Karn, Ugin, Rakdos' Return, Monstrous on Stormbreath Dragon, Equip Cost on Batterskull. I think I'm going to be really mana hungry. Can overload this. So all those things put together, I think that the times it's going to come up that I want to cast this for 2 or 3, even, is going to outweigh the pain mana here. So I think I'm just going to end up taking a Blackleaf Cliffs, take an extra land is the opportunity cost here, and I think I might have taken this land anyway. But so I want to take Everflowing Chalice this pick. And I think my other pick's going to be Harnessed by Force. It's kind of no one's taken a threaten effect yet, but I think this is the best threaten effect there has been printed in a long time. And I think if someone were to take a threaten effect, it would be this. And this card's just this card gets just way better once you cast it targeting 2 or 3 creatures. Like each time you strive this card, it just goes through the roof. Like you can just stealing your opponent's. It's basically like a 2 creature swing. It's like if you steal 2 of their guys, then you get +2 attackers and they get -2 blockers. Like that's a huge swing. And this card can just steal games out of nowhere, and I definitely would like to have it. So I think those are gonna be my picks, and then on the next round, I think I'm looking at Sarkhan and Blasphemous Act. And then we're probably going to follow that up with we've got 6 black-red cards, Dreadwar, Lightning, Olivia, Sire, Kolagon's Command, Rakdos Charm, and then the 5 lands. Or 6 if you count the Rakdos Signet. So I think that's going to be I'm taking the Chalice and these 3 red cards, and then I think my next 12 picks are going to be the lands and the black-red spells. And then that'll leave me with 4 picks, I believe. I can probably take a couple sideboard cards. Maybe I'll finally take 1 or 2 of these 2-drops. And that'll basically be the draft. I'll probably get one of these sweepers too, but I'm waiting on the sweepers just because there's so many of them. 4, 5, 6, 7, and then I do know I want this one. But aside from that, I think we're pretty much winding down here. Things may be getting more interesting for some of the other players as they try not to step on each other's toes, but for better or worse, I feel like I've really found a seat that's just um, very independent of the rest of the draft. But like, I'm pretty much almost all of my remaining picks are fairly independent of what else happens here, which I think is supposed to be a good thing. So, but we'll see how the deck comes together. I'm up again. We've had twice as many cards picked in between, of course, since there's double the picks. So I'm going to briefly go through what the other players took. It's got the green-white splash blue deck. It's a little more combo-y. Not really doing any of that combo-y stuff anymore. Just taking good cards. So we got Warden of the First Tree, Banishing Light, Marsh Flats, because somebody was mean and took a Flooded Strand, and Privileged Position is an interesting one. Makes their creatures, or maybe all their permanents, not targetable by stuff. I don't think that's a real big deal. If they're spending their whole turn 5 casting this, that's probably fine for me. I can just play another dragon and attack, so worth being aware of, particularly if I have like a removal heavy game 1 and they might board this in. So I wonder if they'll take Asceticism's a similar card. The most interesting picks here, Mono Red suddenly has Splinter Twin now, though he did take that Cements a while ago and the Scalding Tarn. So you got a couple blue sources. It's got Kikijiki, Splinter Twin, Pestermite, Deceiver, Exarch. So establishment of a sure plan B. I'm not sure how he's going to build his deck. But this also makes Rakdos Charm even better. I already wanted it, but I want it even more now because all 3 modes are going to be relevant in different matchups. Over here we've got Condemn, Prey Upon, Overrun, and Verdant Catacombs. Just more green-white cards doing green-white things. Some removal and a bit of a win condition, which he already had Elish Norn, and Baneslayer and a sword, but worth being aware of. Over here, the blue-black. Every time the blue-black deck takes more cards, I feel like my matchup gets even worse. Bribery taking my Wormcoil or Gunner Maw or something is pretty brutal. I already have enough issues here, but Dark Betrayal is also okay against me. It's possible I should have picked it up. Just so nobody can play it against me, although I don't have a ton of targets for it. But I do have a few. I'll probably be picking up a couple more. And then looks like the mono black deck is just kind of making an aggro and a control plan. I feel like that's kind of the direction people are moving right now, and that's sort of where my deck is going too. Or that you can have either 2 different decks or at least like 2 different approaches for the same deck. So this is obviously 3 very aggressive creatures, and then Mutavault's not too surprising. It doesn't really fit in anyone else's deck, but his mana is going to be so good that he can afford to play it. So that comes back to us, and I want to mention a card that the Splinter Twin drafting made me think of that should have been on my radar the whole time, and I probably should have taken a while ago, but Zealous Conscripts is still here. I actually think that I'd rather have that than like the 4th hasty 5-drop flying creature. It's just like a card that has a lot of play to it and can really just steal games. It's also a combo with Splinter Twin. Which is what made me think of it. So I think I'm actually just going to take the conscripts and then I'll save the Stark. I did have like 1 or 2 flex picks. Stark Betrayal is gone. So something I'm waiting on the Death Mark. I don't think it's that much better than like this Dreadbore I'm going to get. I think I'm going to have enough cheap removal that I probably don't need the Death Mark. So I think we're still going, finally taking Blasphemous Act. I'm just going to basically round out the... I drafted this last time. I don't think I updated this. And Chalice. Yeah, so I'm just finishing off basically the non-land, the cards that aren't in blue and black basically. So I'm going to finish off by taking lands and black red multicolored cards. So yeah, I think we're grabbing these 2 guys. I do like need to get a sweeper, and I still need to get another one, but I have time for that. So next pick, um, next pick will probably take like one of each. I think I'll probably take either Jedbor or Blightning, and then the Rakdos Signet probably just to cement that I'm moving in. And then on the next swing back, I'll take the other one and take a land, and then I'll probably take another land and like a Sire or Olivia. I think Olivia seems good, something like that. These picks are pretty unexciting the rest of the way. So let's make sure I have enough picks to do all this, which I've checked a couple times, but still makes you feel better. So 42 minus 26. So I should still have 16 picks left. Yeah. Let's make sure this isn't more than 16 cards, but I don't think it is. So you've got the 5 lands and the Signet is 6. Sire 7, Olivia 8, Lightning 9, Dreadbore 10. Rakdos Charm, Kolagon's Command is 12. One more Sweeper is 13. One more Artifact Hate is 14. So I'm basically going to have like 2 flex spots left at the end. But I think those are, so possibly Sarkin. Possibly like a Stigma Lasher. Or a Bituminous Blast. I'll have to see like where some of the other decks go. Like I think those last couple of picks may be specifically targeted for where other people move their decks. But yeah, for now, I'm happy with Conscripts and with Blasphemous Act here. And we're looking pretty good. We're going to have the right amount of cards. So I'm glad I noticed that Conscripts is a card. Should have had that on the radar a long time ago, but thankfully was not punished. And yeah, I'll be back shortly with my next pick. I'm up again. We've just had, since my last picks, just a bunch of lands and things that get lands. The only real notable thing is Cold Steel Heart, and that's mostly because I should have had it on my list. I'm pretty sure it's better than the Talisman of Indulgence. But it looks like I'm not going to draft that anyway, so I think I'm just taking the Signet. I guess theoretically, this goes over here. Yeah, so I think we're, like I said last time, we're kind of just in the goldfish stage here. Looks like my next few picks are just going to be these 3 black-red cards I definitely want to have, and some of these lands. So I think I'm just going to take a spell and a land for the next like 4 or 5 picks. Or 4 or 5 sets of 2 picks, basically. And we'll get these guys. And so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then there's 6 mana sources over here. So yeah, that'll probably be it. And then I'll have like 2 picks left or something. Yeah. And then we'll probably spend the last 2 picks on another thing that kills artifacts and some kind of sweeper. And then that'll be the end of the draft, basically. Yeah, so I'm just going to go through. I think I'll take Blightning first. And so I have to take like the marginally most important cards. Like I think Blightning is the most important of the black-red cards. So we'll just go with that. And then probably Olivia, and then Dreadbore, I think. And then Sire. And we'll get these 4 lands and this Signet and this land. Yeah, I think I'll probably just do that. Just to, like, I don't think anyone's going to interfere at this point. But just a hedge, I'll take a combination of lands and spells. So yeah, I think Blightning's the best spell, or the most important by solver, small margins. And then I guess the untapped lands are the most important, so either Dragon Skull Summit or Graven Cairns. Or really splitting hairs on this. I guess it's Graven Cairns because it comes into play untapped all the time. Dragon Skull Summit's going to come into play untapped almost all the time, but I guess I'll take Blightning and Graven Cairns for now. it's pretty, like I said, we're really, really splitting hairs. So next, I'll probably take the Signet and the Dragon Skull Summit, and then the Dreadbore and the Olivia will probably be the next 4 picks. But yeah, this is the less exciting part. Probably if you're the viewer, we'll keep an eye on what everyone else is doing, but what I'm doing is pretty much set in stone at this point.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so I'm up again. It took a while. It's been a few days since the last pick. I'm just gonna haven't recorded in a while, so we'll go through the last set of 20 cards have been picked actually since my last turn. And the mono black deck is doing mono black things. It looks really scary. The Phyrexian Obliterator and the Grey Merchant are both pretty big payoffs for being in mono black. I think that actually might be the strongest deck in the field right now, simply because the rest of us who are in black seem to not be competing for the heavy black cards, aside from like Damnation and Thoughtseize is looking pretty good. But we'll see how it plays out. Over here is just a bunch of Artifact Ramp, Thirst for Knowledge. I'm not sure what Teleria West is transmuting for. I don't think he has the payoff right now, at least, so maybe he'll be drafting some fancy lands later. I guess he can get Inkmoth Nexus. It doesn't seem that good, though. So we'll have to see how that develops. Both the green and white decks just took green and white cards that you play guys and attack with them. So the Dallas Escorts and the Sanctimony are both a little bit annoying. This is a card that, well, whenever I tap a mountain, he gains a life. That could be scary. I may need to think about possibly grabbing the Stigma Lasher because it's pretty tough for me to erase that. Grey Sable Stag, just the random 3/3 I don't care about. And then he's definitely moved back into the mono red strategy. So Zergo and Atarka's Command, Mutagenic Growth. I don't know why he took Combust. I'm not sure what he's worried about. Maybe the Baneslayer Angel. Or maybe he just doesn't want it to be played against him, but at the same time he can't counter it anyway, so it's a little bit of a strange pick, but it's not good against me, so I'm not going to worry about it. And then it comes around to me, and it's the only thing I think that has changed is that I think the Stigma Lasher is back in play as a card that I might want at some point. Just to offset. It depends how worried I am about life gain. I don't think I would take it on this pass, but possibly on my next pick. Maybe we're thinking about. I think we're still looking at Dreadbore and Olivia and some of these lands. So, it's not super important really what we take here. I think I still like taking Dreadbore, Olivia, and 1 mana source. And I may go now Dreadbore, Olivia, 1 mana source, and the Stigma Lasher on the next pick instead. Because I'm a little worried about that life gain, and this feels more and more over the Vexing Cheshire, like the 2-drop that I actually want. And there's not a lot of competition for these lands here, so I'm not sure if I want. I guess the Signet is less replaceable. I could always just like play the Pain land, even though I don't want to. So I think we'll go. I think we'll just go Dreadbore Olivia now, and then take the. My next pick, I'll probably take Stigma Lasher Mana Source, and we'll go from there. Depends. I'll think about. Depends how much I want the Stigma Lasher, but we'll see. Maybe depending on the next few picks as well. And so here we're gonna go Dreadbore Olivia, and I'm not really sure what these decks are gonna be up to. Probably just more ramp and lands. It's interesting where this Esper deck is. It's very polarized between two strategies. I'm not sure. Maybe he's finally going to take more of a reanimation package so that he can sideboard into. But it's tough to do that without Gifts Ungiven. So I'll be back soon and see what the other guys do, and then we'll see if it's going to be Stigma Lasher or not. Get a little more time to think about it. Okay, so a lot of cards have been picked since my last video. I had to skip a pick, sort of, because I was in a crowded airport. It was very loud, and did not think I'd be able to successfully record the video. So I picked Dreadborn Olivia last, as far as I remember. And so after that were the two to my left. There was a bunch more lands. I like the 8 straight lands in this deck. Celestial Colonnades seems very good in this deck. I'm not sure how good Tron is when you can only play one of each, but I guess we'll find out. And here we got Oracle of Moldiah. Monvali Acid Moss is actually a pretty good card. You get to Stone Rain them and get a land. It's a nice little 2-for-1. I'm sure that'll probably come up as being good in some matchups. I think the only, aside from just getting Stone Rain, which isn't great, the only thing I'm really worried about, I guess, would be losing Lava Claw Reaches, maybe, which I plan to take later. Probably not too big a deal, and yeah, in the Scryland and Painland and what have you. I took Sire of Insanity and Rakdos Signet with the continuing plan for my next 2 picks. Probably grab Rakdos Charm and new Modern All-Star, apparently Kolagon's Command. Card seen a lot of play in Modern right now. And then we'll grab probably these 2 lands. My next 4 picks probably is going to be a land and a spell. And I'm not totally sure what 2 spells I'll take after these 2. Still got, I think I talked about this before, but decided to hold off on the Sigma Lasher just in the, I don't want to overreact to one person sideboard card. When I get down to those last couple picks, I may want a different sort of hate. Could be a bunch of counter spells taken, or I don't know. I may still want this Sarkin too. So I'm just thinking about it. I know I want these 2 cards though, and I know I want these 4 lands. So those will be some of my next few picks, and we'll go from there. And I kind of want to see what everyone has in their entirety. So yeah, my next pick will probably be Rakdos Charm and or Kolagon's Command, and then probably the Dragon Skull Summit. And the Lava Claw Reaches will probably be somewhere in my next 4 cards. So since I made my pick to my right, we're a good chunk of the way through the next couple rounds here. Horizon Canopy, Mirran Crusader. He seems to really be on the, not quite the Hate Bears plan, but the hateful 3-drops, a lot of protection from black. Black is pretty, there are a lot of people in black. There are now actually 5 players in black in this draft. So that's worth being aware of. Clifftop Retreat, Goblin War Driver is just, I don't know, there's more mono red things. It seems pretty clear to me that the Splinter Twin plan is probably going to be in the sideboard. He's going to be a mono red deck in game 1, I would imagine. Here we've got Trostani, Armada Worm, along with Advent, and Hero Bladehold. Maybe we're looking at and the Overrun. This may be more of a token theme. And then it's like I think this makes sense. He just grabbed Overgrown Tomb. I think it was the last shock land left, and Siege Rhino. It should be pretty easy to cast a Siege Rhino when you have Birds of Paradise and Knight of the Reliquary. And he awkwardly has a fetch land that can't fetch Overgrown Tomb, though, as he took the Flooded Strand, so he probably should have, I think this was a hate draft on the Bant deck, but I'm pretty sure he might have wanted to take Marsh Flats if you knew you were going to do that, but maybe he didn't know. I think he still could take Marsh Flats. I'm pretty sure that card is still out there. But there are definitely some awkward fetch sequences between the decks that are sharing colors. We'll see if that actually comes up in any of the games. And I may be overestimating whether that's a big deal or not. But I guess we'll find out. He does have Windswept Heath and Verdant Catacombs to actually fetch the Overgrown Tomb, so it may not matter. And over here, this definitely, I think, has turned into probably the most interesting deck. This is just artifact nonsense. So Mindslaver Academy Ruins is definitely a way to win. So I think he's just trying to go really long and slaver people out. I still think he's going to take Tezzeret at some point. Gilded Lotus is a pretty interesting card. That's definitely that'll help you get up to 10 to do this. So I guess we'll see if that comes up or not. I'm actually wondering if Pithing Needle is a card that I want to grab. I think I may add that to my little list here. That definitely could name a lot of. There's a lot of things you can name. Not sure if it's worth it. Well, I was a little skeptical of Needle and Limited, but this is kind of a halfway limited constructed format. But this be aware of. Could even be Phyrexian Revoker. I think that's still around. And maybe some way to stop a Planeswalker and activate ability might not be the worst thing to have in the sideboard. So mono black deck I still think is probably the best deck at the table. This is again because the card quality is just so high. Tendrils of Corruption is just awesome in this deck. I don't know how the mono red deck can ever beat Tendrils. So yeah, I'll kill your guy and gain 5, and then just like, okay. Skithrix is an interesting pick. It's kind of a good plan B. If somebody, I don't know, combos out and gains infinite life or something, you can kill him with Infect. I had to look up what Guards' Assassin did. I've never seen this card. It's one of those random cards from Cold Snap nobody plays. It's black, black, black for a 2/2. You can sacrifice it to destroy target non-black creature, and then it has Recover, and you pay half your life rounded down, which is Recover is when another, I think it's when another creature goes to your graveyard. You can pay the Recover cost to return the assassin to your hand. The Recover cost is to pay half of your life rounded down. So I'm not sure exactly what that's good against, but I guess we'll find out. And maybe it's good late in the game. So I guess that's where we are with everybody right now. This will be my pick again soon. Like I said, I pretty much know what my picks are, so I feel like I'm spending more time now talking about what everyone else is doing. But it's kind of time to think about that because we're going to have to, I don't know, build decks and play Magic at some point. It feels like it's never going to happen as we've been at this for over a month now. And there's still several rounds left. We're getting pretty close to the end. And I'm definitely excited to play, and hopefully we had a couple of long breaks in the with people not picking cards, so hopefully we'll start moving it at a faster pace as well.